G'day and welcome back to another episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups. Today we are not in the shed working on any classic minis. On this episode I'm going to show you how to service a 2016 diesel Hyundai Tucson. Alright, so first things first, I got my son behind the camera, so Jackson, thank you very much for helping me today. We've got some gloves on, we've got some jacks and some stands outside, we've got a bunch of tools we're going to be using, we're going to go through what you're going to need to service it. What I like to do to begin with is run the car for about 10 to 15 minutes beforehand just to heat up that engine oil. Hot oil is going to drain quicker than cold oil. So we've now been running it for about 10 minutes or so. Let's go ahead and switch it off. So our car is fitted with a start-stop button. Bang, off she goes. Let's pull the bonnet release, which is just down in here. We're going to open that. Once that's open, we can then get on to draining the engine oil. All right, so once the bonnet's released, we then want to be putting up the bonnet stay cable up to here, and then enabling us to work under the engine bay. All right, so now the bonnet stays open. What we want to be doing is opening the oil cap to allow it to breathe a little bit easier when we drain the engine oil and prevent it creating a vacuum. Now we do want to be checking things like the brake fluid condition and seeing if it has any moisture in it. You can get a brake fluid tester, which we'll talk about on another episode. We want to be checking the coolant level. We want to also be topping up the washer bottle, going around doing a battery test as well, removing the air filter, which is in behind here, pretty easy to do, checking the cabin filter as well, and checking for any oil leaks, anything that is deteriorated, coolant leaks. We want to check the condition of the drive belt, the engine mounts, pretty much everything underneath the bonnet. This episode, we're just going to be doing a basic logbook service, so just an oil and filter change, and we may also change the fuel filter, but we'll probably do that on another episode. So let's jack this up and let's get the oil draining. Now, once the vehicle's jacked up, you do want to get an appropriate jack stand. You want to find out where your designated jacking points are and where you can place the axle stand. Now, originally I was going to place it directly underneath this part of the body, just under here, but in my case, I'm actually going to change the position of it and put it underneath the subframe. The reason I'm going to do that is this is a metal subframe and it will likely hold it a little bit more suffice than what this will here, because I'm unsure what is actually underneath it. I'm going to jack it up just a little bit higher, just to give us a little bit of extra height and ensure that the axle stand can go underneath there and give me as much room as possible. You do want to make sure that anytime you use an axle stand, you get as high as you possibly can. That way it enables you to have as much clearance under there as you can possibly get. Once it's positioned, lower it down and move on to the other side. All right, so I did just replace the axle stand on the driver's side. This old one isn't too bad. I've had this since I was an apprentice, so that was actually no longer than that. It's probably been about 25 years I've had that axle stand. It wasn't looking overly great, and the platform it's sitting on is not overly good, so I've decided let's get rid of that and use a decent one. One Tomo's tech tip here is make sure you use decent axle stands and a jack. Never solely rely on a jack, because if this fails, this car probably weighs 1,500 kilos, if not more, and it will crush and or kill you. All right, so the one annoying thing about these Hyundai Tucsons is there is probably 15 to 20 bolts all the way around the outside. So around the outside of the splash tray or the bash tray, whatever you want to call it, there's 10mm bolts, and then there is a one up in the middle here, and that's pretty much it. So we're going to go around, we're going to quickly whip them all off, and then we can start draining the oil. All right, so another one, Tomo's tech tips. Grab yourself a old container or a bucket or something, put all your bolts in that way, you're not going to lose them when you take them out. All right, once it's loose, move it off to the side. Next step is to locate the oil pan, which is this one directly here. So that is our sump plug for our engine, and we have the transmission here as well. So we're not going to be touching anything to do with that, only the oil in the pan, and that is the oil filter just there. So we'll get to that in a second. I believe this is a 17mm socket. We'll find out in a second. We're going to crack that, we're going to drain it, and we're going to put it in a container. Now, before you drain engine oil, always make sure that your drain tin is sufficient, or it is bigger than what you know the capacity of the sump is. Failure to do so will mean that you fill it up too quickly, and therefore you could potentially overfill it and spill oil absolutely everywhere. Remember as well, because we've been running the car, the engine oil is going to be hot. Using gloves is going to help protect our hands, but not from the heat. We're gonna let that drain for a couple of minutes until it starts dribbling, and then we put the sump plug back in. Make sure as well, you always renew the sump plug washer. All right, and once it's slowed down to pretty much a drip, grab yourself a new sump plug washer, put on the sump plug, and then tighten it up. You only need to do this by hand. You can use a torque wrench if you want. Generally, the torque setting for these is about 20, maybe 25 Newton meters at most, but learning this skill of not over tightening it is a really important tool to have. All right, give it a wipe. That way you can ensure that there's no drips left over. Now we can move on to the oil filter just over here. All right, so this oil filter is known as a cartridge type oil filter. So it sits in a little housing. What we need to do is get a 6mm Allen key, and then just gonna loosen that off. This is the drain plug for it to drain out all the oil that's in the filter. Otherwise, if you don't drain it, a couple of things can happen. One is you'll take it off and it will spill oil absolutely everywhere. And two, you actually can't take it out without removing this, simply because the circumference of this drain plug is greater than the outside diameter socket you need to remove the oil filter. Now this actually has an oil filter specification tightness on it, so you can do it up to 35 Newton meters, which for a plastic housing is fairly tight, but we might actually use a torque wrench when we're done just to ensure we can get it done to the right specification. This also has a O-ring on the bottom of it, meaning that you need to change it when you go to replace the oil filter itself. It'll come with a new O-ring here and a new O-ring for the housing. Now for memory, this is a 24mm socket, which it is. We're going to use a 1/2 inch deep 24mm socket and a 1/2 inch ratchet. Just going to crack that. There we go. And then just loosen that nice and slowly. Because there is still a little bit of oil in there, you'll find that when you remove the socket from it, it will have a bit of oil inside there, which isn't the end of the world, so don't worry too much about that. We're going to remove that slowly just in case there's any extra oil that hasn't come out. All right, and there we go. You will find there'll be a little bit of oil left in there. Let's head in the workshop and let's change this oil filter over. I'll show you how to do it. All right, so we have our oil filter here. I've just got it in a waste oil container. So all we're going to be doing is removing the filter. As you can see, it comes out fairly straightforward from the cup. Now, like I was saying, there are two seals in which it comes with a new oil filter. So you got one just here at the bottom. So I'm using a seal pick. You can just use a standard pick if you need. That'll just pull directly off. I'm gonna put that off to the side, and then you have your housing assembly. So we'll put that to the side. This is the oil filter we're using. We're using a WCO 130. That's a Whiskey Charlie Oscar 130. It's a Westfield filter or a Cooper filter. They are interchangeable with other varieties. So it could be Ryco or a brand of your choice. So we have the oil filter as part of it, and then we have the two O-rings. So like we discussed before, there's going to be an O-ring on the removal part of it to drain the oil from the filter. So we're going to take both those out. Make sure you always replace them. Failure to do so can result in it leaking. So we're going to leave the little one off to the side. We're going to get the big one to begin with. All we're going to do is put it on there, just to the side like that. We're going to sit it in the groove, just like that. Slide it around, and then make sure it's all the way in its seal, in its housing, all the way around. And then just apply a little bit of oil around the outside. That'll just help it to seal properly. We're going to get the filter. The filter can go either way. We're just going to slide it in there and push it in until it clips in, and then that's it. Like I said, with a smaller O-ring, all you want to be doing.
So what we need to do next is remove the O-ring that is on this little plug. This is a really great tool to use because the pick enables you to remove and even refit O-rings without damaging them whatsoever. It doesn't matter too much if you damage the old O-ring, put it off to the side, grab the new one, and we're going to refit it. Now, as you can see on the plug, there are two little grooves up on there. You do want to make sure you fit it to the right groove, because if you don't, it is going to leak. Once it's on there, we're then just going to ensure it's properly fitted. Grab yourself a little bit of lubricant such as engine oil, and then we're going to lubricate it. That way when it goes in, it's going to seal properly. Once it's been refitted, make sure it's on there, then grab the oil filter and refit it to the car. Next thing I like to do is just grab a rag and just wipe down the inside of the oil filter housing and any oil that is dripped all over the bottom of the block. This just ensures that when you put it all back together, there's no oil just hanging around, and that it's nice and clean with the two fresh mating surfaces. Once you've done that, you can then go ahead, grab your filter, wind it in by hand, and then go ahead and grab your socket. Now, this does have a torque setting on the bottom part of the oil filter housing itself. It does have a Newton meter setting. You can use a torque torque wrench to be able to do this. I would highly advise it if you're not a seasoned mechanic like myself, only because you can break this. It is only a plastic housing, so just nip it up if you need to and you don't have a torque wrench. Once you've done that, give it another wipe because you do have a little bit of oil hanging around the outside of it. Put the drain plug back in there and just nip that up. That's just used by an Allen key to be able to tighten it up. This doesn't need to be overly tight, but just wind it in by hand, grab your socket, nip it up, and away you go. Now once you've completed doing the oil and the oil filter, you can then refit this massive under tray with the 1400 bolts that hold it all in. You can use a deep impact socket and a small impact gun like I am using here. It just helps to do it a little bit quicker and ensure that you can get it done without sitting there for 20 minutes trying to do up each bolt individually. It is a little bit of a cheap way to do it, but it is highly advised to use this. If you need to, use a 3/8 socket. That way you don't over tighten them. They are just a 10mm bolt, so the torque setting isn't overly high. Once the under tray's been refitted, you then want to grab yourself a funnel and start pouring in the engine oil. Now here I'm using Gulf Western Top Dog 15W40 engine oil. If you go onto their website, you can actually put in the registration and it would tell you how much oil the vehicle takes and what viscosity. So in our case, doing an oil change, it came up with a quantity. You do want to be putting in the lower amount on that scale. So from memory, these generally take about 9 litres. I generally like to start off with about 7.5 to 8, put the oil cap on, start it, check for leaks and then re-inspect it. If necessary, it's easier to top it up. But just remember that if you overfill it, it's going to be harder to remove the oil than what it is to put oil back into it and top it up to the correct level. Once you've filled it with engine oil, you then want to jump in the vehicle and go to start up the vehicle. You want to start it up and check for leaks and also to ensure that the oil light on the dash, which I'm about to point to, has turned off. In this case, it only stayed on for a couple of seconds, which isn't an issue. We want to make sure that that light goes off because if it doesn't, it can do irreversible damage to the engine whilst driving. Once you're satisfied that the oil light's gone out, switch it off, double check the oil level. Now this may sound silly, but I like to always ensure that I check underneath the vehicle post doing an oil change and starting it up. That's just to ensure that there's no further oil leaks, and if there is, it's easier to correct it now than what it is down the road when you run out of oil. Check around to see if there's any oil leaks around the system. If you're satisfied with it, take the oil cap off and let's check the level. Now Tomo's tech tip here is remove the dipstick, give it a wipe, put it back in and then recheck it. That way you can ensure that the oil level you've got on the dipstick is correct. Sometimes you'll find you'll pull it out, one side will be higher, the other side will be lower, you'll keep topping it up and before you know it, you've overfilled it. This actually has a cross hatch on the bottom of it, which you can see I'm pointing to now. Where my finger is the full mark. This was actually done to the correct level for the very first time and you'll see just now we're bang on the money. If that's it, refit it, put the oil cap back on and then give it a clean and away we go. Now I do apologise for the last couple of minutes of audio not syncing with me talking. I know it looks like a cheap imported movie with really bad dubbed English. This simply happened because I didn't realise that my microphone and transmitter were both flat and by then it had been too late and I'd already committed to film the episode. So I do apologise that it looks the way that it does. Doing a service on your vehicle is actually quite satisfying and I do take a lot of pride in it to ensure that the vehicle is running in tip-top condition and is something that you should do as a periodic maintenance. In my terms, I do the service every 7,500 Ks or 6 months, whichever occurs first, although the book says every 12 months or 15,000 Ks. Go through, check the logbook, see what it needs, and if you need to, do extra work whilst doing the oil change. An oil change is really basic, you need minimal tools, especially on this vehicle. It's not overly hard, and I hope my video has been of some instruction to you. Thanks very much for watching. Please consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups.